Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to my channel. In this video I'll share with you the full and detailed making of 3-layered frill dress for a 5-year girl. You can make it for different ages and just by changing the measurements and following the same method, and I'll try to explain it in a very simple way so you can understand it well. Make sure to subscribe my channel if you have not subscribed yet and press the bell icon so you will get notification on every new upload. So let's get started. I'm using these two types of fabrics for this dress. So for this dress we need 2 meters of silk fabric and 2 meters of net fabric. First of all, we'll cut and stitch the skirt. So for the skirt, we'll take the base fabric or the silk fabric in my case, and we'll fold the fabric lengthwise. Actually we'll cut it in umbrella shape, so we'll fold it lengthwise, and whatever the length of the skirt you want to take, add 7 to 8 inches to it and fold the fabric at that point. For example, I want 18 inches long skirt, so I'll add 7 inches to it and I folded the fabric at 25 inches, right? 18 plus 7 is 25, right? So it is 25 in length and width on fold, right, after folding. Now we'll fold the fabric from one side to the other, so we get a triangle and a corner at one point like this. Fold the fabric like this, so we get a corner at one point. It's almost a triangular shape. Now we'll place the measuring tape where our 1/4 of our waist lies. 1/4 of our waist is 5.5 inches, but we won't mark like that. We'll just check the distance of this point from the corner, and it is at 7 inches from the corner, so we'll mark at 7 inches from the corner. We don't mark in a straight line here, but it would be a slight curve shape. If you place the measuring tape at that point, it will be almost 5.5 to 6 inches, means it would be equal to 1/4 of your waist, right? Now we'll cut for the 3 layers of our skirt, and our skirt length is 18 inches. We need 21-inch long fabric including seam allowance, so for the net fabric, and we keep 1 inch less for the base fabric, so we need 6-inch long strips, right? So for the first strip, we'll add 7 inches to the 6 we want, and it is 13 inches, so we mark at 13 inch from that corner. When we'll remove the waist part on cutting, we'll get the first layer 6 inch long, right? Now for the second layer, we'll add 6 inches to the 13 we just marked, and it is 19 inches, so we'll mark at 19 inch from that corner like this. And for the third layer, we add 6 more inches, so we mark at 25 from that corner, right? So I'm marking at 25 for the third layer, and 19 for the second layer, and 13 for the first layer. Each layer would be 6 inches long, and the waist part at the top will be removed on cutting, and we'll get our waist. So I've marked for all the 3 layers. Now we'll cut at these 3 lines like this, and we got our 3 strips. Each strip is 6 inches long. We'll remove the top part and we get our waist. When we'll open it, it will look like this, and it is for both front and back part of the skirt, right? All the strips are folded, and each one is 6 inches long. Now we'll cut the net fabric, and we'll keep the net fabric 1 inch longer than the silk fabric. So we'll cut 7 inches long net strips. So we'll fold the fabric widthwise like this 2 or 3 times. It will be easier to cut the strips. So I'm folding it widthwise. Now mark at 7 inches from the top 6 times. So this is for the first strip, again at 7 inches for the second strip, now 7 inches for the third strip, and so on. We'll cut 6 strips of net fabric, 2 layers of net fabric for 1 layer of silk fabric each, right? So I'm marking at 7 inches now. Now we'll cut at these marks. So we've cut the fabric at these marks, and we got 6 strips, 2 strips for 1 layer of silk fabric each. Now we'll join the 2 strips for each layer like this. We'll join them from the center. This is for 1 layer of silk fabric. We'll do the same for all the layers of the net fabric. So we have joined the 2 layers for each layer of silk fabric, but for the last layer I cut one more strip. So these are 3 strips of net fabric for the last layer, because the width of the last layer was greatest than all. That's why. So now we'll gather the net fabric, and for that we'll just tie a knot at one corner and we'll go for a running stitch like shown, and when we'll pull the thread from the other side we'll get the gathers, right? So we'll do the same for all the 3 strips of the net. So running stitch is done for all the 3 layers of the net fabric. Now we'll attach it with the silk fabric. So these are the 3 layers of the silk fabric. We'll open them like this and we'll put the first gathered layer of net fabric on it and gather it down to the width of the first layer. Gather this down to the width of the first layer. Likewise, the net fabric for the second layer, put it on the right side of the silk fabric and gather it down to the width of the second layer and the third, and now we'll stitch at the top so that the gathers are fixed in place and the net fabric is attached to the silk fabric. So I have stitched it on machine. So now the gathers are fixed in place and the net fabric is joined to the silk fabric at the top only. Now we'll join all the 3 layers together one by one. So first of all, we'll flip the first layer, the right side on the right side of the second layer like this, and we'll join here. Join the bottom of the first layer to the top of the second. This is done. Likewise, join the right sides together. Place the second on the third. Join the right sides together. Sew the bottom of the second layer to the top of the third. So this is done. It looks like this. Now for the bottom of each layer of net fabric, we'll attach a strip of silk fabric here, 1.5 inches wide. You can also use a ribbon, it will be much easier, but I'm using the strips of silk fabric. I have cut the strips. These are 2.5 inches wide, as you can see, because we need 1.5 inch wide, 1 inch is for seam allowance, right? So what we'll do, we actually want to attach it at the bottom like this, at the bottom of each frill, like this. So first we will join it at the wrong side throughout the strip, and then we'll fold it upwards to the right side, fold at the top, and it will be done, right? So for now, first we'll attach it at the wrong side like this. So I've attached the strip of silk at the wrong side of the net fabric, as you can see here. Now fold it on the right side like this. Now first top stitch at the bottom so it will be fixed. So I have top stitched it, as you can see here. Now this strip is fixed in its place, right? It will be easier to handle. And now at the top, fold it inside a ½ inch and top stitch. So I have attached 1.5 inches wide strips at the bottom of each frill in the same way as I showed for the first time. Now for the bottom of the silk fabric, we'll just hem it. So we folded it 2 times and hemmed the bottom of the silk fabric, and the skirt is almost done. Now for the side seam, first of all, we'll stitch all the layers of one side in place, stitch them here, and stitch all the layers of the other side here, and then join them together. So I have stitched them in place, and now join the sides and stitch the sides. So I have stitched the side and the skirt is done. It is looking like this. Now we'll cut and stitch the bodice. For bodice, I have taken these 2 strips of net fabric, and these are 11 inches long and 15 inches wide, including seam allowance. Now we'll fold the fabric like this. These are 2 pieces for front and back both. Now we'll mark for the shoulders first. For shoulder, we mark half of the shoulder, and I'm marking at 5.5 inches. At this point, we'll mark for the armhole, half of armhole round. I'm marking at 6 inches. Extend these 2 points like this. Now at that point, we'll mark for the chest, 1/4 of chest. I'm marking at 6 inches. And for the waist, we'll mark for 1/4 of waist, and I'm marking at 5.5 inches. Join these 2 points. Now from the chest point, we'll mark for the armhole, for the back armhole first, and then for the front armhole. Front armhole is deeper than the back one. Now for the neckline width, we'll mark at 2.5 inches, and for the neckline depth, we'll mark at 2.5 inches again. Join these 2 points in a round shape. Now we'll cut at the neckline and the back armhole first and separate the back part. Now we'll cut the front armhole. So we have cut the front armhole as well. Now on this pattern, for the front and the back, we'll cut the silk fabric and the lining. So I've cut the silk fabric and the lining for both front part and the back part, as you can see here. Now we'll join the silk fabric to the net fabric and make it one piece. So separate the lining for now and join the net fabric to the silk from all sides, so it will become one piece. So I have stitched the silk fabric and the net fabric from all sides, as you can see. Now it's one piece, it's easy to handle. Now we'll place the lining on the right side of the front bodice and the back bodice and stitch at the armhole and the neckline. Now we'll stitch at the armhole and the neckline for front and the back as well. So we have stitched at the neckline and the armhole. And for the back part, after stitching from the neckline and the armhole, I have made 2 stitch lines at the center back. We'll cut from the center, so it is the opening for the head to go in, right? Now we'll turn the right side out for the back part only and give it a very nice press. After pressing the back part nicely, we'll insert it in the front bodice to attach at the shoulders. So for this, make sure to match the main bodice with the main bodice and lining to the lining. And one more thing, only the back part is turned right side out, but the front part is wrong side out, right? Make sure. So insert the shoulders of the back part into the the front part and stitch at the shoulders here. Likewise for the other shoulder, stitch here. So after stitching at the shoulders, give a few notches at the front neckline and pull the back part out, and the right side of the front bodice will be out and the shoulders are done. As you can see here, no seam is visible. It is very nicely finished from the inside and the outside. Give it a very nice press, and after pressing it very nicely, we'll attach the sleeves to the bodice. So for that, we'll get the sleeves ready. For the sleeves, I've taken 2 strips of net fabric, and these are much wider because we want puff sleeves. We'll gather the fabric. These are folded, right? And the length is equal to the length of the sleeves you want. Then now we'll mark for the armhole, keeping it straight at this beginning, and then we'll give a slope at the end like this. Now cut at the side as well to give the shape of the sleeve like this. Now mark at the center. So mark at the center like this at the folded part. Now open the sleeves. The center is marked. Now we will gather at the top of each sleeve and the bottom, and for that we'll go for a running stitch. So the running stitch is done at the bottom of each sleeve and the top. We'll gather it like this, but before that we'll hem the bottom of the sleeves. So we can picot at the bottom, or you can hem it. Now we'll gather, pull the thread and gather the sleeve, and we'll keep the gathers at the center, and we'll keep it straight at the sides like this. Adjust the gathers. Now place the sleeve under the armhole and match the center of the sleeve to the shoulders like this. Pin in place. Match the edges of the sleeve and the armhole. Pin here. And gather all the fabric in between and stitch at the top. So we'll top stitch at the armhole here. I have top stitched at the armhole and the bottom of the sleeves where there are gathers, right, where we did running stitch. And I made 2 stitch lines at the armhole, as you can see. Now we'll do the same for the other sleeve. I have attached the other sleeve as well in the same way. Now we'll get this belt ready, and I've taken 3 inches wide fabric, 2 strips, join the right sides together and stitch at the sides. I've stitched the sides of these strips. Now turn the right side out. You can use a pencil or any pointed thing. Turn the right side out and give a nice press. Make 2 strips ready for 2 sides. Place them at the side like this. Pin in place. Almost a half inch above the bottom. Now match the right sides of the bodice and stitch at the sides. So I have stitched the sides and the belt is stitched in between, as you can see here. Now the bodice is ready. We'll attach it to the skirt. That seam would be at the center back. Now we'll simply join the right sides together and stitch the bodice with the skirt like this. Stitch at the waistline and the dress is done. As you can see here, these are the front and the back. We'll tie a knot for the belt. So this is how it looks. I hope you liked the video, and if there is any question related to this dress, you can ask. And if you like the video, give a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe my channel. This is the final look of the dress. I attached 3 flowers at the waistline, as you can see here. These are fabric flowers, and I'll give a link in the description for the making of these fabric flowers. And hope you like the video, and thank you so much for watching.